So the premiere of Ahsoka has shown us an interesting challenge that the New Republic is facing. This primarily centered around Imperial Loyalists, those who are still loyal to the Galactic Empire. So I figured today we'd take a closer look at just how prolific these Imperial Loyalists are, and why anyone would be loyal to the Galactic Empire, especially after its collapse. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. Before I begin, I'd like to throw out there that this video will include some spoilers for the first two episodes of Ahsoka, so the series premiere. If you haven't seen it yet and would like to completely avoid spoilers, I'll leave a link up here to a video on Imperial Warlords where you can check that out, and that's spoiler-free. So in the show, we see that several large industries operated by the New Republic have been thoroughly infiltrated, or at least saturated, with those loyal to the Galactic Empire, to the point where it's leading to sabotage and some stealing of equipment for Imperial warlords. And this is an ongoing problem that the New Republic has faced basically since the end of the war. So today we're going to take a closer look at how prolific this problem is and why these people would have been loyal to the Empire in the first place. Let's actually start with that question. Why would anyone be loyal to the Galactic Empire? Now, in the show, it's mentioned that it's primarily greed. The profits made from supporting Imperial factions would have been significant, at least during the reign of the Empire. But, following the collapse of the Galactic Empire, it's doubtful that Imperial warlords would have access to large sums of credits, which means there's likely not a significant currency exchange in return for the stolen equipment. So, is it really profitable for these companies to continue to supply equipment to the Imperial remnants? No, the money doesn't add up here, and while it's possible, in fact it's likely that there was some exchange of credits, it's likely more that this is a sort of alignment of ideology. So let's talk about the ideology that the supporters of the Empire might have held. Now, without a doubt, the Empire is a negative force in the galaxy. They're not a good thing, and the things they did to the galaxy were not positives. But for some groups, there is a very different opinion on that. You have to keep in mind that when the Empire came to power, it was coming to power in a galaxy that had just endured the Clone Wars, the largest galactic war it had seen in generations. So people had seen the sort of disunity that comes from a galaxy enthralled in a civil war, which is what the Clone Wars was. As a result, the Empire was known as this unifying force that sort of held the galaxy together with an iron fist, forcing everyone to work together and preventing these large-scale conflicts until another civil war broke out about 20 years later. So, for a lot of people, the Empire meant stability, security, and unity for the galaxy in a sense. But it's noteworthy that this is only for specific groups of people. Those that lived in the core benefited the most from the Empire, and those who were non-alien benefited the most from the Empire, so humans. As a result, humans who lived in the core had the most to gain from the existence of the Empire, which kept things stable and secure, and generally in their favor. Now, once again, if you lived anywhere else in the galaxy, you would have a very different opinion, but now it's worth noting that the planet that we see this on is Corellia, which is a world that's relatively close to the core, and likely benefited quite a bit from the rise of the Empire, in many sort of circumstances. And it's also worth noting that while Corellia did fall into some disarray during the days of the Empire, its shipbuilding industry boomed with Imperial shipbuilding contracts, which would have brought a lot of Imperial loyalists onto the world to construct new Star Destroyers, so it's understandable that there'd be a lot of them still living there following the end of the conflict. So when it comes down to why these people would be loyal to the Galactic Empire, it's likely this web of different reasons that culminates in political ideology. So, how prolific is it? Well, it's probably pretty prolific on worlds like Corellia and Coruscant, worlds that would have benefited the most from the Empire. The people that were the most loyal to the Empire would have gone to these worlds. Now, it's noteworthy that on a galactic scale, it's probably not as prolific as it could be, since a lot of Imperial worlds were sort of burned in Operation Cinder during the later days of the Galactic Civil War, where Imperial forces turned on Imperial Loyalists as sort of revenge for failing to keep Palpatine alive. But still, on worlds that didn't feel the sort of sting of the Empire's collapse, places like Corellia, this would have been a not uncommon belief. And on core worlds like Coruscant, it would have been much of the same. So the fact that the core has to form the base of the galactic government means that they're likely pretty prolific not just in industry and economic forces within the galaxy, but likely in the government of the New Republic as well. Whether they're people who were openly supporters or serving the Galactic Empire during its reign, or simply people who held pro-Imperial beliefs during the reign of the Empire and had to change their tune following the rise of the New Republic. Ultimately, though, interestingly enough, the galaxy tended to support the rise of the Empire in the very early days. And if you'd like to learn about why the people of the galaxy were so accepting of the rise of a totalitarian regime, I'll leave a link up here to my video on why people supported the Empire basically from day one. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments what you think the New Republic should do about this situation. Do you think it's worth trying to weed out everyone who had previous Imperial ties, or do you think it makes more sense to try to, coexist with the Imperial Loyalists and find a way to reintegrate them into society without, trying to weed them out? And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Star Wars, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.